In the frantic, neon-soaked architecture of 2026, you are not living in a world of information, you are living in a theater of psychological warfare. Christopher is here to remind you that your mind is the most valuable real estate on the planet, and every corporation, algorithm, and social movement is trying to colonize it before you even wake up. They don't want you to think, they want you to react. They want you to be a biological mirror, a hollow vessel that reflects the manufactured outrages and pre-packaged opinions they feed you through the glass in your hand. This is the echo chamber plague. A state of high-functioning hypnosis where you believe you are speaking your mind, yet you are merely reciting a script handed to you by a machine. In this 69th chapter, we are initiating the silence protocol. We are going to find your sovereign voice, the raw, primal frequency that existed before the noise of the world told you who you were supposed to be. Understand the nature of the hive mind. It is not a community, it is a safety mechanism for the weak. Most people find a terrifying comfort in chanting the same slogans and sharing the same digital hashtags. It gives them a sense of false belonging, a temporary shelter from the cold reality of their own insignificance. But a sovereign man knows that true belonging starts within the vacuum of his own soul. If you cannot sit in a dark room for a single hour without checking a notification, seeking validation, or needing to know what the crowd thinks, you do not own your mind. You are a tenant in a digital slum owned by Silicon Valley. The sovereignty of voice is the ability to look at a viral trend and feel absolutely nothing. It is the power to witness a global panic and remain as unmoved as a mountain. Christopher demands that you stop being a consumer of ideas and start being a generator of truth. The era of the parrot is dead. The era of the prophet begins today. Consider the silence of the deep woods at midnight. It is terrifying to the modern man because in that silence, there is no one to tell him he is right. There is no like button in the wilderness. There is only the brutal, honest frequency of your own intuition, and for most of you, that voice has been buried under miles of digital sediment. You have forgotten the sound of your own soul because the outrage economy is constantly screaming in your ear, telling you what to love, what to hate, and what to fear. To reclaim your voice, you must first reclaim your silence. You must be willing to be wrong in the eyes of the screaming masses to be right in the eyes of the eternal truth. This is the first step of the sovereign voice, the absolute refusal to participate in the scripted theater of 2026. If a thought didn't originate in the furnace of your own contemplation, why are you letting it live in your head? How do you build a voice that cannot be hacked by an algorithm? You start with information distillation. Christopher's vetting protocol is about treating every piece of incoming data as a potential infection. In 2026, truth has become a luxury good, while lies are a public utility, distributed freely to keep the population compliant. To find your voice, you must cut the umbilical cord to the mainstream feed. This is not a suggestion, it is a survival requirement. Stop scrolling and start studying. A sovereign man reads the books that the world has tried to forget, the ones that don't have a simplified version. He looks for timeless principles, not trending topics. By anchoring your intellect in the wisdom of the ages, Stoicism, alchemy, classical philosophy, you create a vibrational armor. When the machine tries to push a new, current thing into your consciousness, it simply bounces off the iron of your foundation. This is the logic of the lone wolf. Not because he hates the pack, but because he doesn't need the pack's permission to know which way the wind is blowing. Your voice must be an original composition, not a poorly edited remix of a TikTok trend. This requires intellectual hermitry. You must spend significant time in the mental void, processing your own experiences without the interference of so-called influencers. Why do you value what you value? Why do you fear what you fear? If the answer involves a screen or a celebrity, it is not your answer. Christopher demands that you desaturate your brain. Flush out the neon colors and the strobe lights of the modern world until you can see reality in its raw, more textures. Only then can you speak with the weight of a man who actually knows the contours of his own heart. A voice that is born in noise is just more noise. A voice that is born in silence is a command. The independent frequency is a state of being where your internal compass is more powerful than the external GPS. The world will try to recalibrate you every single day. It will use shame, it will use fear, and it will use the promise of inclusion to get you back into the echo chamber. But once you have heard the clarity of your own sovereign voice, the shouting of the crowd sounds like nothing more than the buzzing of insects. You must become intellectually self-sufficient. You must build a library in your mind that no one can burn down. When you speak from this place of deep-rooted certainty, people won't just hear your words, they will feel your presence. They will realize they are talking to a man who is not a puppet of the era, but a master of his own time. In the digital swamp of 2026, communication has been reduced to volume. Everyone is shouting, yet no one is saying anything. Christopher's command protocol is the antidote to this verbal diarrhea. We understand that a sovereign voice does not carry power through its decibels, but through its Massachusetts. Every word you utter should carry the gravitational weight of 1,000 hours of silent contemplation. When you speak, the room should physically feel the change in pressure. This is not achieved through aggressive posturing, it is achieved through absolute certainty. The modern man talks too much because he is terrified of the gaps. He fills the air with ums, us, and likes because he is subconsciously begging for permission to exist. He is checking the faces of his audience to see if he is still allowed to speak. Christopher demands a different standard. We speak with economical precision. We treat our words as if they were made of gold, and every sentence is a withdrawal from our personal treasury. We say exactly what is necessary, and then we let the silence do the heavy lifting. Silence is the dark matter of the sovereign voice. It is the space where your authority accumulates. If you cannot master the pause, you will never master the word. Look at the way real power communicates in the noir shadows. It doesn't beg for attention, it commands it through a heavy presence. Your voice is a tool, a surgical instrument, and a weapon. Use it with the same meticulous care a master blacksmith uses on his finest blade. Do not waste your breath on digital gossip, small talk, or social validation. When you speak, let it be because you have distilled a truth so potent that it changes the frequency of everyone in your orbit. In the chaos of 2026, quiet authority is the ultimate flex. While the influencers are screaming for a view or a click, the sovereign man is being whispered about in the corners where real power resides. You are not building a social media following, you are building a legacy of tone. A way of being that signals to the world, this man is not for sale, his mind is not for rent, and his voice cannot be bought. This is the weight of sovereignty. It is the realization that every time you speak, you are either strengthening your cage or dismantling it. Choose the latter. Speak as if your words are the only things that will survive the collapse. Because in the end, they might be. The final frontier of the sovereign voice is the battle with the algorithmic god. The machines of 2026 are designed to reward predictability. They want you to stay in your demographic lane, to use the approved hashtags, and to never stray from the agreed-upon reality. The algorithm loves a man who can be categorized. If it can categorize you, it can control you. Christopher's irregularity protocol is the ultimate act of rebellion. To be truly sovereign, you must become un-algorithmable. You must possess interests that contradict each other. You must hold opinions that do not fit into a left or right box. You must be a glitch in the social fabric. When the machine cannot predict your next move or your next word, it loses its psychological leverage over you. You are no longer a user, you are an anomaly. This is the ghost strategy. You live within the system, you use its tools, but you are not of the system. You use their platforms to broadcast your sovereign truth, but you never, not for a single second, let their metrics define your value or your direction. Your voice is your escape hatch. It is the bridge between the digital mirage and the physical reality. By speaking your truth, no matter how unpopular, unviral, or dangerous it may be, you are performing a global resonance test. You are broadcasting a signal to find the others who share your frequency. This is how we build the unseen brotherhood. We don't find each other through clout, we find each other through the sub-frequency of truth that the algorithm desperately tries to filter out. The machine wants you to be safe. It wants you to be consistent. It wants you to be quietly compliant. Christopher says, be risky. Be contradictory. Be loud in your conviction. Your sovereign voice is the only thing that the AI cannot replicate, because the AI has no soul friction. It has no blood in the game. When you speak from a place of personal sacrifice and hard-won experience, you are creating something machine-proof. In a world of deepfakes and AI-generated noise, authentic human friction is the most valuable currency on Earth. Do not be afraid of being cancelled or shadow banned. To be banned by a corrupt system is the highest form of endorsement. It means your signal is working. It means the machine is scared. Keep broadcasting. The echo chamber is brittle, and your voice is the vibration that will eventually shatter it. As we conclude this 69th transmission, I want you to take the vow of the sovereign voice. This is not a casual promise, it is a blood oath to your own future self. From this moment forward, you will stop being an echo and start being a sound. You will treat your words as sacred currency, and you will not spend them on the cheap trivialities of the crowd. You will not allow the echo chamber to dictate your vocabulary, your values, or your vision of the world. You will stand in the very center of the digital noise, a pillar of quiet, terrifying certainty, and you will speak only when the truth demands to be heard. In the shallow waters of 2026, your authenticity is your only weapon, and your integrity is your only shield. You are no longer a node in the network. You are the network itself. The transmission of the 69th is complete. The silence protocol is now fully integrated into your spirit. Go out into the world today and listen far more than you speak. Find the voice that lives in the quiet between your heartbeats. And when the time comes to finally open your mouth, make sure the world feels the ground shake. This is Christopher, ending the broadcast for the sovereign titans who have chosen the lonely path of truth over the crowded path of lies. Stay deep. Stay silent. Stay dangerous. The man who owns his voice is the only man who truly owns his destiny. Farewell for now, you untamable ghost. The noise of the world is temporary, but the frequency of the sovereign is eternal. See you in the shadows of the next chapter.